guess we kind of met in high school. He was 2 years ahead of me.
And we had a class together, like a marketing class. It was an elective, so it was really just, we did a lot of talking. And that's when I met her.
We kind of liked each other then, actually, but Owen's mom told him that I was too young for him because I was 14 and he was 16. So I guess like with that age, it was too big of a difference. But we always liked each other, like whenever we would see each other, we would always be happy. And
I knew, something was really special about her or something special about us. I just felt really comfortable with her. I thought that she was just amazing then. I didn't know it was because I was, going to spend the rest of my life with her, but we had a really good connection. But I was just, getting ready to go to college and a senior and everything. And so, age difference at the time, it just wasn't, it wasn't the right time.
I guess like our first moment, just me and Owen, would be like our first date a couple years ago. I was recently broken up, and we kept in touch kind of through Facebook. We would say hey like maybe once or twice a year. And he was like, oh, well, where does your boyfriend live? And I was like, well, actually we broke up, And he was like, well, we need to go out ASAP.
I told her we were going to Golden Corral.
And I was like, okay. Like I wasn't trying to be like stuck up or anything. So I was like, okay, that's fine.
And instead of going to Golden Corral, I'd already planned that we were going to go, out to eat at this Brazilian steakhouse.
But he ended up telling me before we got there even that we really weren't going to Golden Corral. Like he just couldn't wait to tell me. So we set up the date and he comes and picks me up.
So when I got there, her dad and her best friend and her dad's best friend were standing outside, and I drove up and she just walked out, and it really couldn't have been any more perfect because she did just blow me away. She looked as beautiful as she ever does.
And I remember like the car ride the whole way there, he just asked me a million questions. Like, what was my favorite music, what kind of food I liked. He just kind of played that game.
We get to the steakhouse and we go in, we start eating.
And we just sat there and talked for like 3 hours. I mean, they started like putting the chairs up in the restaurant and we were like, oh my gosh, have we been here that long,
And it was before we even got seated that I knew that there was something really special, between us. I kind of already knew that before we even went on the date, but given that opportunity to spend that time with her, I'd already started thinking about how great the next part of our life was going to be, because I saw nothing but a perfect time.
And I don't know, it was just kind of sweet, and I kind of knew then, it was special. And he said he's always known. But yeah, that was our first date. So he proposed here in this house. I wasn't living here at the time. It was almost our 1 year anniversary, which would have been August 20th. But this year that was like on a Tuesday maybe, I think. So we were just doing like our anniversary date night the Friday before on the 16th.
She came over and I'd put probably about 15 notes around the house of things that, small quotes and things that I remembered or appreciated about her and things that I promised to her.
And I was just like, I sat in his lap and I was just telling him about my day, and I look over on the drawer, there's like a piece of paper tape there. And I'm like really kind of OCD about stuff. Like I know I mentioned earlier, he drives me crazy when he leaves things out in the house. Like I just like for everything to be neat. And so anyways, I'm like, what is that piece of paper? Like, what is that? He's like, just tell me about your day, babe, just finish telling me. And I'm like, no, I need to know what that piece of paper is. So, because I knew it was like our anniversary, so I didn't know if it was part of a gift or something. So I was like, what is it? And so he finally let me. He's like, okay, go look at it. So I pull it off the dresser, and it actually was a note that I had written to him like shortly after we started dating. One night he had gone over to like visit with his family, and my mom cooked that night, and he always comes over for dinner like at my parents' house. And I don't remember like what had happened, but he had to go like see his family for some reason. And I came here, like my mom and I just came to the house and like dropped off food for him and left it in the fridge. And I left him like a little note like with it. And so he had kept that note and he taped it to the drawer. And I opened the drawer and in there was like a pink rose and a little note that he had printed off on pink paper. Pink is my favorite. And it said, I will always remember how sweet you are. So I thought he was just gonna have like notes to me, and I thought it was really sweet. And he hid like all kinds of notes around the house, like in the refrigerator and the microwave, like behind pillows, behind picture frames. Like he hid them everywhere, so I had to go around the house and find them.
Well, and I kind of led her, to the notes. It's not like she spent a lot of time looking for them. I said, well, why don't you look over there, or why don't you look, behind that pillow?
So I had to go around and find like all these little notes, and they were so sweet. Like, I will always love you, or you will always be right. Like just some of them were funny like that, but they were all cute. And so, anyways, I finished that, and then he had packaged up like a frame. I knew like it was a frame because we picked it out together. I just didn't know why we picked it out. He just told me he wanted me to pick one out. So he had it wrapped up in like cellophane, and it had a big bow tied on it. Like, obviously he didn't tie it, somebody else had tied it. And I get the bow finally undone, and he's like, hold on, don't pull the frame out yet. And so I was like, okay. And he said, did you notice that like there was something missing in the notes? And like, I didn't notice at the time. I was like, well, I don't really know what you're talking about. And my favorite quote is, I will always kiss you goodnight, or always kiss me goodnight, like whichever way. But he didn't put that in like with all of his notes.
And I fully expected her to say, well, I'm surprised you didn't put, I'll always, kiss you goodnight, or always kiss me goodnight. And so I had it planned out that when she asked me that, I was going to say, I was going to ask her to marry me. And inside the ring was engraved, I'll always kiss you goodnight.
And so inside the ring, well, obviously I said yes.
I just went ahead and asked her, and then, it kind of all came together. When I gave her the ring, I told her to take it off, and that was written in the inside of it, after she said yes, of course,
He said, you will never know how much I love you. And he said, will you marry me? And I just was like, oh my God, and I said yes. Like, I put the ring on, and he's like, well, take the ring off. And I was like, I don't want to. And but I took it off, and on the inside he had engraved, I will always kiss you goodnight. It's like the quote goes, always kiss me goodnight, but I just think of that because that's how he had it written in there. In the frame is a pink sheet of paper, and it says, reserved for Mr. and Mrs. Burnett, like a picture, like wedding picture. Hold on. Reserved for a wedding picture, something about we will become Mr. and Mrs. Burnett, and it will be the happiest day of my life. And so it was so sweet.
I think that she knew it was coming, so she was prepared to say yes and extremely excited. So it wasn't like it was all a shock to her, but in that moment I could see that it was, excitement and shock all in one.
I really am excited to see him as a dad, and I think it's going to be fun, be an adventure. He's certainly not perfect, but he really is. I think he really was perfect for me,
Being married to her is what I'm looking forward to the most. I can't predict what's going to be in the future, but I talk to her sometimes about it, and I'm just really excited because we have an opportunity to have just such an amazing, life. Kids in the future, whenever that comes up. Growing our life together into something, a house and a dog and some kids and those kind of things. I think I'm ready to have an adult life with her and grow and see where it goes from there.
I'm just super excited. He really is the most loyal and just sweetest thing, and I really can't wait to just spend every day with him,